Ted here, John here. We're just gonna go ahead and jump into it. I think is the appropriate thing to do. Let's just jump into it. We're late. We're extremely late. I apologize, folks. We're having some issues with the recording, streaming, whatever you call it. Hopefully we are live. Hopefully you can see us. Hopefully things are running smoother. You can see us at least. There's not the fancy graphics package. We're having to use an old method. So right now it's just us talking. John, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, we're good. We're good here. I think the challenge here is when you stop using the muscle, it atrophies, and that is our live stream muscle, and it's very atrophied. So, thanks for sticking with us in the chat. Thank you, thank you to the 8 of us that sat here for 20 minutes while we futzed with internet. Wow, the video quality! Holy crap!
Is it
It's
bad?
amazing.
Is it bad, or
It's
is it
bad. We look like 8-bit pixel, like we're like chiptunes. Whatever, man. Hi, everybody. DC United.
Oh, DC United. Oh, this is going to be great for like the podcast, I think. I think we're going to get some great stuff for the podcast. I'm not even really sure how the audio is going to sound on Audacity. That's going to be fun. This might end up being like a lost show. Who knows? Let's talk DC United though. Let's just jump into it. We've wasted enough of your time. Or we can just go talk MLS CBA. I don't know, John. I've wasted enough of your night tonight. Watching a particular political candidate run in a New Hampshire primary. So I've taken up enough of your evening.
So let's talk about some news. Let's talk about things that have. There's been a whole bunch of things that have happened since we have last spoken. Like a lot. I mean, there's so many things. DC United has a new jersey. It's very nice. Yes. Jaime Moreno was our fashion icon, walking up and down, which is cool. I like it. Weird to not see. Granted, it's the whole 25th year. Weird to not see him in 99 or 9 and have 25 on there, which is, that's Santino's number in my book, so it was a bit confusing for me. So that happened. The CBA got ratified. I think we should just whip through it. I think we should just do it like this. The CBA got ratified.
Yes.
They get to take more private planes. In fact, they are now mandated to use charter flights, whereas in the past they were able to use, I think, 3 or 4 per year. Now they are mandated to use the 5. They're mandated to use charter flights on for MLS playoffs. That's great. So cheap teams can't be cheap.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the big things they got. I mean, I think the charter flights, everybody was kind of saying, okay, those are things that the team, it seems like they're gonna get because there are some owners that want to spend more on their team and they want to spend more on their club, and they want to treat their players like they are like the stars they should be when they're spending a lot of money. I think we all kind of thought they were going to get those types of concessions. I think the real win for the players is in the increase in the minimum salary. It's the movement of I think they're moving some TAM to GAM. And I think the increase in the minimum salary, something like over like 4 years, it's gonna increase. So they got a lot that they wanted.
Free agency.
Down
from 28 to 24, from 8 years of service down to 5. So now you can actually get a free agent deal and still be young enough to actually make some money out of it, as opposed to being sort of like on your last legs or on your last contract. So congratulations to the players. I think this is an unalloyed win for the players. I think that based on what came out, what the public asks were, it seems like they got pretty much everything they wanted. They got a future share of revenue from the TV deal.
Correct. Yes.
So that's great. Yeah. So congrats, players. I'm glad there's not a strike. I'm glad that there's actually going to be a season. I care slightly less now because I'm not a season ticket holder, and there was a bit of a panic we all had. Like, I think there was something in the language like you don't get your money back for your season tickets if there's not a season or some. So luckily, we don't have to even find out if that has a lawyer has to consult there. So that's good.
That's very good. That's very good. That's extremely, extremely good.
You know what we're not going to talk about?
What's that?
Preseason results.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it. The games that have occurred, only one of them was visible, I believe.
No, none of them. None of them were visible.
None of them. Well, then they really didn't exist, and we really shouldn't talk about it.
Well, here's the thing about the games. So there was no streaming, and it's kind of funny. Like I was watching these bad results. I think coming in, like I think they lost 3-0 or something to Montreal. I think they lost to the Red Bulls as well. I know Montreal's preparing for Champions League, so they're going to play a lot more starters. DC was not playing anything close to starting lineups, anything like that. And just the amount of like Olsen out, like oh my God, more of the same. I think really shows just kind of how it just shows that there's still a lot of anger and a lot of sentiment. Even after the I guess the moves that they've made to try to like say, hey, we're going to be different this time. It seems to me there's still a lot of sort of angst amongst fans with Ben Olsen, and I get it and I understand it, and I I'm not someone to say you should think exactly what I think, but I think some there needs to be some there needs to be a little bit of patience, I think, and let's wait till we get some actual live results. Let's see what Ben can do with the squad. He's here, he's not going away. Short of there being a complete locker room collapse or some unforeseen scandal that we're not seeing. I don't know. Maybe he's involved in a cheating scandal. Maybe he's banging. Doping.
Him and Lance Armstrong. That's what's going on.
Who knows? I don't know how himself doping would help. But anyway, he's here. Flores wasn't there. He just got his visa figured out. Apparently now he's dealing with a small injury, and we get a little bit about that. DC, I've always wondered. There's a lot of talk about injuries at the beginning of the year and who's injured and who's not feeling healthy. And it seems like DC United suffers from it a little bit more than other teams. But maybe it's a factor of us just paying attention more.
It's that.
Yeah, it's totally that. Because there were some questions from fans about that and about we seem to be really injured, blah blah blah. So
yeah, that's a common thing. I think if you pay any attention to sort of like any sports, like grouping of fans, like that's just what happens. Everyone assumes that their situation is unique or worse. So it's early in the season. These things happen. Particularly Yamil Assad getting a groin injury was the least surprising groin injury that has ever existed in the history of groin injuries. the dude has been chilling for a while, and then he got game action, and then his groin stopped working. So real shock. Similar to the fact that I am running a 5K on Saturday. I have not broken past a jog in 3 years, maybe. It's gonna be so. If there's no podcast next week, it's because I died running 3 1/3 miles. It's not impossible that happens. So the podcast must go on. Ted will find a replacement. But that's what I'm saying. Not a surprise. I will also pull both of my groins and my hamstrings and my calves, just without a doubt.
And I thought I was crazy for like trying to like jump into soccer refereeing after like not really doing much exercise. So you, sir, my friend, you take the cake. You take the cake.
No, I mean I'm big stupid, so that's not a surprise.
All right, but I will say, John, I have a little bit of a concern about DC United right now because we had these flurry of signings. We had the Gressel signing, the Flores signing, Lozano's happened. All right, hey, that happens. DC's been a little quiet lately. There's been some trialists. There's been the French center back apparently that they've been chasing, Amens Biake DiBiase. I'm gonna say DiBiase. I can pronounce that.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase.
Yes,
the French Ted DiBiase.
They're DiBiase, a defender, age 30, from Mali, I think, which is kind of interesting to me, playing out in France. A lot of people have been asking kind of, well, is this what DC should be going? Should they be going with a age 30 center back? It's very surprising to me. Like, as soon as a player hits 30, I think it's happening with Ola Kamara too. Now that he's 30, everybody's like, oh no, he's washed up. We need another big top line striker. 30's not that bad, especially for the position he plays. If we're relying on a 30-year-old to be a quick winger, yeah, maybe there's some concerns. But a center back position, you can get a good 2-3 seasons at the very least out of that. I'd have to check how old Frederick Brilliant is, but I think he's pushing like well past 30 at this point.
Yeah, he's ancient at maybe 34. He's literally dead.
and a regular starter for a French League One club, which is not nothing. I mean, let's be clear, that's not
the worst League One club.
They are in a relegation battle, and that's kind of the crux of the argument right now is that basically the team doesn't want to let him go because they are in the middle of a relegation battle.
Good sign. If they were willing to let him go in a relegation battle, we may not want him. So that is probably good.
Probably a good sign, but disappointing, I guess, for the team in the fact that he's apparently it's very unlikely he's going to come because they're in a relegation battle. They're trying to stay up. I mean, who knows? Maybe he comes later in the year. Maybe once they get relegated. Maybe once relegation is assured, he will come because the calendar runs until I think the 5th of May. So there's plenty of time for him to come in. So
yeah, we are. I mean, I think that sort of opens up the conversation about depth in different locations of the field. There are a million questions we got, and I think probably we should maybe just think about working through those. But the question was, there are a bunch of places in the field where we are paper thin.
Yeah.
And even with the trialists and even with the potential signings, we're at forward not looking good. We've got Eric Sorga as the backup, completely unproven. We're a hamstring away from starting an Estonian striker. I think Griffin Yao is now listed as a forward. I don't know if he was last year.
I mean, forward can mean so many things.
For sure. But there's not. I mean, other than that, like there is a real deficit of people they could throw in that pit. Who is the guy that scored the goal that was a second round draft pick that's looking for Loudon? I forget the guy. Anyway, one of the guys who scored a goal in the game that we're not going to talk about because it's fake. So he scored, I think, 1 or 2 in these games. So that's, there's that. I don't know. I think I'm concerned about right back. I continue to be. I think that Knaus is looking more and more like maybe first choice right back right now, based on sort of preseason lineups and conversation. I think, I think he's played there now twice. We've talked about this on the show. I'm not a fan of this. I think that is not maximizing his skill set. Yeah. I think he doesn't. I think he's fine back there. He's inconsistent, but he's not a standout player. The opportunity he has to be well above average is in the middle of the field. And moving him from there to right back further lessens our depth in the defensive midfield position. So now we've got Durkin's not coming back. So we have Felipe and we have Moreno, and that's it. I think that's really that's the spine. That's what we have to deal with. So when you move him out of there, that everything becomes a little bit worse by having to put a square peg in a round hole.
I mean, I think the fact I almost wish, considering how the season ended, that Knaus did not play as well at right back, because that's the only reason we're talking about this, is because he played really well. I mean, he was really good at right back. I agree with you. I would like to see some more defensive depth. I'm curious to see what the team does towards the end of the year. Are they going to actually be able to bring somebody in? Are they going to sign a trialist? Is that the move to bring in a trialist? Are we going back to the battle days of RFK and no money and bringing in trialists, signing Carlos Ruiz at the last minute?
Oh God, PTSD.
I don't think we're there, but we're
not.
It is a little concerning. The paper thinness. We are extremely have depth in the attacking midfield. That is the one position where you can say we have some amazing depth between Emil Assad, between Edison Flores, between Julian Gressel, Paul Arriola. Perfectly fine there. I guess the question is, do you go out and get a guy like Darren Maddox maybe? Is that where you look?
Or Quincy? Someone's talking about Quincy in the chat. I mean, you want a guy, we need a guy. A body is good. Another forward is good that you can get for under $100,000, which I think both of those players you could. You just need numbers to make that gap up. So that's the good thing. There appears to be a good number of proven MLS players, not guys you'd want to start every week, not guys that are going to knock your socks off, but just MLS caliber players available right now. So I'm confident. I'm confident we're not. I think we're probably gonna have to see a signing or two, like you said, either from a trialist or from a free agent perspective. It's not. We're not complete. Saying in the chat right now, this team is not the finished article. It's not. It isn't. There needs to be more moves. Obviously, the summer is when it's really going to come into effect. They're going to look at where they're at, probably. The Julian Gressel move. We didn't even. Have we even had a chance to talk about that? Have we podcasted?
Yeah, we had a whole podcast called Gresselmania.
Oh yeah, you're right. We did.
So we have talked about that.
We did talk about it. So that's stuck in my mind. But anyway, like that was a somewhat surprising move that I think that potentially, I think maybe he ends up at right back now. Now that we look at the Canal situation and turning defensive midfield from a strength into a thin weakness, I think maybe you end up having to. Although Ben Olsen has said that he sees him as a forward. I don't know. This team is weird. This team is not. This team seems put together like, oh look, a player that we could get. Let's get him. All right, he's another midfielder. That's okay. We'll figure that out later. It's fine.
And and the Gressel move seemed to me to indicate that the team was like, we're gonna grab players that are good and we'll figure it out, because that's what, honestly, every team that is competing at the top. You look at Toronto. You look at LAFC. You look at New York City FC. They all have moments when they pick up players, and you're like, how are they gonna fit that guy into their system? How are they going to fit? What can they do? And that's honestly what can make them a good team. And I felt like DC's had good teams, but they've been very predictable. So we're entering with a little bit of unpredictability.
Chaos.
Yes.
Chaos strategy. Benny ball in throwing up the pieces and seeing where they land.
Yeah, but there needs to be some sort of a fuller complement of players where suddenly more questions have to be asked, and teams go into the season not knowing how you're going to play. How are you going to line up? I have an idea of what Ben Olsen's done in the past, but he's got 4 wingers now. Even though I've been listening to people who watch this a little bit more, particularly MLS Assist from the Total Soccer Show, and they are saying, actually, we talk about Edison Flores as a winger. He has played centrally before, and he's actually done apparently a pretty good job of it. So we might be looking at him being center. A lot of people have sort of placed him, he's a winger. He is still kind of can play that central role, that central attacking role. So just wanted to put that out there. I think everybody thinks like maybe Olsen's putting a square peg in a round hole, playing him at that central position. He has done it before, and he's been pretty good at it.
I think too, this is sort of red meat to the people who think that Olsen doesn't have a clue. He's gonna have a clue.
Yeah,
because there's not a set lineup here with these players. Like there's gonna have to be decisions made, tactical choices made. Much more than average. Like in the last few years, the lineup 8 out of 11 of the spots were pretty much written in. There'd be a few bit of changes here, but particularly with this midfield, there's going to have to be a lot of chopping and changing going on. At right back, there's going to be a lot of that going on. Joseph Mora will be gone for a month this summer. There's going to have to be a lot of that. So this is a real test for a coach that has had many. And many fans would say he's failed all of them. Many fans would say give him a chance. It's a very divided situation, but this is going to have to be. He's going to have to figure it out, because this is not one where he can just throw out the same 11 and hope it works out. He's going to have to make a lot. Like Dan says, this is the true test of Benny Ball, the final trial.
Yeah,
the final boss. For Ben Olsen, he's got to make it work this time.
If this team is sitting in the same position that they were last season, barely scraping by, it's not going to be good enough at this point. I mean, this point now, it's like, all right, distractions are gone. Time to shape up. And
what's our expectations? Let's put them. Yeah, let's put them. I think we have the same.
Yes. I mean, to me, there has to be. See, I'm hesitant because I'm like, after so long, you think you would be like, we should be talking about, MLS Cup contention.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's almost you don't want to go there because you've been hurt so bad. I mean, last year was supposed to be MLS Cup contention. That was supposed to be the year. Everything was supposed to come together. Rooney was supposed to, carry us to the top of the Eastern Conference. And at the beginning of the year, it was looking like that. And then it all just fell apart.
Very bad.
So, I almost want to temper expectations and then just be surprised. By the way, did you bet any money on DC when you went to Vegas? You did not.
I didn't.
You are a coward, my friend. You are a coward.
Odds were 50 to 1, which are okay.
$10, you win $500. What?
Yeah, I left a lot of money on the blackjack table, man. I couldn't do both.
$10. All I was asking. I even asked you, and you did anyway.
You did.
Moving on.
Well,
what do I think? What do I think DC should do?
Yeah.
How I think they're going to do? Honestly, a playoff win at this point. I'm at the point where I want to see a playoff win.
Playoff win is the floor.
Hosting number one, hosting a playoff game. I think not only hosting a playoff game, but being in the top 3. I'm going to say that for me will be a successful season. We get a home playoff game number. That's like hugely priority. And there's a lot of space. There's a lot of space where you could see that happening with what's out there right now.
Yeah, if that doesn't happen, if that's the floor for both of us at playoff, at least for me, a playoff home win is the floor. If he doesn't get that, this podcast goes into we raise the Jolly Roger the entire off season. We'll do like daily posts about is Ben Olsen fired yet? I think that if that doesn't happen, that's all there is to it. And I think also that also fits with his contract. I think this year was never going to happen. We talked about it. Steve Goff talked about it. It was always going to go at least one more year, just based on the way this team operates, and then the contract extension that he had got 2 years ago. So this is it. This is the final test. This is the level with the water. This is whatever this is the Battletoads level that it's hard to beat. It's going to be that one.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. It's going to be. I'd love to at this point to be able to tell you. I wish we had some games, and I'm hopeful. I'm okay with like the first couple games. All right, it's early in the year. You know, you're out there on the field. There's not a lot of lineups. I mean, I will say, bravo DC United for bringing back DCU Match Day. Bravo to that. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. That's now back and live. I don't know if you remember the Twitter account DCU Match Day. So the first game. And this is kind of a thing where I'm seeing DC learn. They get criticism, and now there's a response. Because the first game, they didn't do anything. I think they just posted an image at the end. And the next game said, okay, let's send a social media person to actually give some stats to this game. The first game against Montreal, all we had was the Montreal Twitter account. That's all we had. We had nothing else.
Had we lost video?
We did lose video?
Yep.
Can people still hear us?
I don't know.
Well, I'm still seeing. If people can still hear us, I'm sorry, folks. We're gonna work on this again. I'm not quite sure what happened. Streamlabs updated on me, and suddenly things just stopped working. I did not learn the lesson. Do not update. Never update.
Okay, they can hear us. So
okay,
let's just keep going.
let's just keep going. And let's see. I completely lost my job. But anyway, so. Yeah, you had the games stream. You had the game. A stream would be nice. A stream would be wonderful if somebody out there, someone with a friggin' Periscope. I don't care. Give me some video of this team. I want to know how my team looks, how this player looks. Because literally, we look at the results on the field and we look at the scoreline and we say, we look at the lineups and we're like, all right, well, there probably wasn't a lot there, but maybe we would have seen something if we had actual video. We'd be able to tell you this player played well. This player maybe didn't look so good. Give me some video. I'm sure you agree.
I know our listeners agree right now. I think that they say the same thing. So let's. I think we should work down this absolutely monstrous list of questions we received.
Okay.
Now that we're audio only. Now that this is now an ASMR podcast for those of you who are on YouTube. All right. I got to get down to the bottom. Literally, guys, I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. All right. The bottom of it. First of all, Andy Nahar is training with LAFC. It makes me sad.
It does. It makes me really sad.
But he is apparently at the point where they are very far from signing him. It's literally just like a get in shape type thing. Take a look. They might sign him. They'll probably sign him if anyone signs him. But bummer. Real big bummer. Particularly for a team that needs a right back. Bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it's and there are a lot of people out there, the sentimental effect I think is huge here. We all watched Andy 2010 to 2012, I want to say. I think it was his tenure at DC. Right. He wasn't here in 2013, I know that. And the team was really bad. I still contend the team would have been better if he had been here. Probably so. But 2010 to 2012, I mean, he really. I went back and watched highlights of him. I was like, when there was news and just, how quick he was on the ball, just how good of a player he was phenomenal. And he was an absolute rising star. The team sold him for $3 million was the fee they sold him for Anderlecht. They had a sell-on clause too, which they're not going to get the I think I said the adage, like, you make your own luck with certain players, and DC hasn't always made the best decision. Hopefully they make the right decision with Chris Durkin and sell him, and then get a hefty sell-on clause on top of that, because he's lighting it up in Belgium, starting for the team.
That seems happening, right? I think the agreed fee isn't very high.
Well, we all thought we'd be watching games on NBC Sports Network by now, and that's gone to hell. We'll get to that in a minute.
There's too much news.
There's too much. There is too much news. But anyway, so it just feels like DC just had really bad luck, because I think Arsenal was sniffing around Andy Nahar at one point. That was a discussion going on. He was scoring in the Champions League, and then it's like one injury, gets back. All right, he's getting healthy. Another injury. Then he tears his ACL. And it's like, and at that point, at 26, a lot of people are saying he's not going to be the same player. I wanted it for the sentimental value. I will be very, very sad if he goes to LAFC and he lights it up, because it's another mark against Dave Casper. Same mark he had against with Nick DeLeon in letting him go and then him playing well for TFC. So it's another mark if he goes to LAFC and plays well, because he's a guy in your backyard. He's a guy who played for your club, and you had an opportunity. You needed a right back, you needed defensive depth, and you didn't go out and get him. And suddenly now he's playing well for LAFC.
Well, wasn't he subject to allocation order?
He would be. He would be. He would be. Maybe they do have the top spot, so maybe that's the easy part. By the way, he is subject to allocation. A lot of people are saying, well, DC has his rights. I'm like, nope, they do not. They do not have his rights. They do not own his rights. He is subject to allocation because DC United sold him. So,
yeah. Also, Andy Nahar has been playing right back, for those who think that he hasn't been.
Yeah, he played a lot of attack, and he played right back for like the beginning part of DC United's.
Yeah, that was the thing that got him international attention, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it was playing.
That was the one time Ben Olsen's strategy of making everyone a right back actually redounded to the benefit of the player. Unlike Paul Areola, where that's the opposite, and that doesn't happen. Anyway, let's keep moving here, because we have not even started. In fact,
yes.
James Lambert of the Screamy Eagles fame says United's key moves, adding Flores and Gressel, seem solid, but we seem dangerously thin at multiple positions. I think we said that. Is this another case of wait until summer and then try to plug holes? We've talked about the fact that we've moved past the window here. We're going to be looking at maybe free agents. We'll be looking at trialists. We'll be looking at...
no. So hold on a minute, John. The window's still open. DC United can go out and sign up and pay a transfer fee. It does become harder because if you're paying a transfer fee to sign a player, any team, unless they are like middle of the table, they have nothing else to play for, is not going to be interested in signing. DCI can go out and pay a transfer fee and bring in a player. The MLS window is still open.
Until when?
Until May 5th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so DC can still go out and pay a transfer fee for a player. The way the transfer window works is when whatever your window's open, you can go out and buy a player and bring them in. It's just like they could go out in I don't know. They could go out in next year or something. They could go out in June before the primary window opens, buy a player. He just can't play until the window opens. So there's nothing. The only thing that affects really is when the player can play. That's what the window dictates. What's that?
I also would like any player that we get to be able to play.
That's the big thing. But it's more the point that the window is still open. DC can go out and sign a player. It does become harder as you get away, as a lot of other teams have closed their window because they can't go out and replace that player. It's why they got Edison Flores in January, because Morelia could go out and said, oh, yeah, we can go out and find somebody else. We'll take your $5 million, DC, and we'll go find somebody else. Brian Lozano was another story. That went sort of up to the deadline, and then once the Mexican window closed, they're like, all right, we need to hold on. We're not too keen to sell this guy because we need to go find a replacement.
Here's a big extension for you,
yes.
Brian.
Yes, here's a big extension for staying with us. So anyway, continue, John. I'm sorry.
Yep. That's fine. No, basically the question says, are we going to have to wait till summer to plug the holes? As you just heard from Ted, we could sign them. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of whether or not they can come play for us until the summer. So we'll see. Most of us agree we're thin everywhere except for midfield. So fingers crossed. Tim Fleisch, Yamil Assad superfan, says, how many defenders will we sign? We need another striker, which I think the team will still go for. We need to trade for Maddox. So Maddox is, I believe, a free agent, correct? I think he's unattached.
I believe so, yeah. I believe he is unattached.
Sign Beitashour. What do you think the club is going to do for signings? So a couple things. Signing Maddox would be fine. I think he's probably an under 100K player at this time. Sure, do it. Steven Beitashour, I'm not sure if he's a free agent. I think his best years are well in the rearview mirror. But we do need a body. I think they're very keen on, if they're just going to sign a body that's either second or third choice in a position, they're more inclined to probably sign a trialist that they can cut bait with, that don't tie them up from a salary cap perspective. So that's why you'll see the Aaron Mond probably signing happen here, because he is a guy that will cost the league minimum, and they can let him go in the summer if they need to, or move him to Loudoun if they have to.
But very possibly. I would agree with signing Maddox. The question is, of course, with Maddox is, does he want to actually come here? Does he want to actually be
or Ben Olsen again?
What's that?
Or Ben Olsen again? Like the coach is still here, and he had to deal with sort of being second banana after Rooney got here, and I think there was some hard feelings. If I remember correctly, there was some stuff on social media that seemed to indicate that he was a little cheesed.
But if no one else is offering and he's being given an opportunity, now again, the I'm not going to sit here and say that Ola Kamara is worse than Darren Maddox, but I will say that there's a little more of an opening between Ola Kamara or there's a little bit less of a gap than Wayne Rooney and Darren Maddox and Ola Kamara and Darren Maddox. So maybe I think it's a matter of, does he still want to start? And if he wants to start, where he wants to play. I think now the CBA sign, you're going to see a lot more free agent signings. There were very, very few free agents. I think Justin Miram is now going to RSL. So now that everything's settled with the CBA, everything's done, teams are going to start making moves. That's why Eric Sogra is now going to be a DC player. They're working on an MLS contract for him right now, basically. And it's probably going to get done because there certainly were some favorable salary cap changes in the CBA, which was good. So things are gonna come hot and heavy. I think there's going to be a couple more signings for DC. I think it's going to be Dave Casper said they're looking at some other targets. So
good.
Yeah,
we need them.
Yeah, I hope it's not just here. We're going to sign a couple trialists. I am hopeful that they are going to go out and make a signing and continue the good move. I think we were all kind of worried after Lozano what was next, and then Gressel happened. So things go quiet, and then suddenly something big happens. So hopefully that's the case here.
I feel so disconnected because we haven't actually seen the team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It feels weird.
Very weird.
This has been a weird offseason, let me just say. Like, normally there's the Carolina Challenge Cup. There's, like, the Desert Diamond Cup, I think, was one they have out. And I think I want to say Las Vegas or Phoenix or something like that. There are, like, I was like, where are, like, the, like, preseason tournaments? I remember the preseason tournaments that we had that existed in American soccer. The Challenge Cup being one of them. I remember those, and there are none of them this year. It's like there's some friendlies going on in Portland. Some teams are playing down in Florida. It's a very, very weird. So, what comes with those tournaments is streams. Those teams, they put out streams because it's like a tournament, it's an event, and everything like that. So, just, weird offseason this year. There's not a lot of formality to it as there has been in the past. Could be the earlier start time too. Could be messing with some things.
Yeah, I think that's probably something to do with it. I think I want to make sure that we talk about our big news before we get too late in the show.
Yes,
folks, which we will probably do. So we are doing a first for us. We're doing a live podcast at the season opener at the Screaming Eagles tailgate. So I don't know yet if we're going to broadcast live from there. We may just record locally. But if you want to come by and say hi and talk about the team, we're going to have a third mic open. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how people react to that third mic. But come out and see us. Come say hi. Somebody asked for a sticker for sticking with us through our video problems. Sure. You want to come? You want to come to the Screaming Eagles tailgate and see us? You can get a sticker. I'll give those away for sure. We don't know how it's going to go. I think we have been asked by people in the past to do live podcasts. This is a first experiment in how this will actually work. We'll see how it goes. Based on our technical acumen today, I think it only has room to go up. I think we will figure it out. It will get better. But yeah, come say hello, even if you're not in Screaming Eagles. I don't think there's like a doorman. I think you can come say hi. Come say hi to us anyway.
We'll just say Ted and John. We'll see how far that gets you.
Yeah. Say I'm with the podcast guys, and then I'm sure they'll give you a free beer.
Hopefully James Lambert doesn't yell at us about that.
One of the 8 listening right now, James, like, come on, this is not what we talked about. Anyway, yeah, we're excited about it. So I hope you, if you can't come see us, I hope we do it live and you can hear us.
Yes.
Back to the
questions.
Long list of things. Malopato says, you can buy the jersey of one of the new additions. Who do you choose? I feel all right. So really, we're talking, unless you're talking about Eric Sorga, which maybe you are. I think you're saying Julian Gressel or Edison Flores. Who do you feel like you'd get? Edison Flores has a 5-year contract. That's attractive to me as someone who continues to get jerseys that are obsolete very quickly. As I'm wearing my 22 Griffin Yao that I guarantee you he's probably changed his number already. I haven't checked, but I'm sure it's different.
Hey man, you get the original one. I want to buy the Durkin Belgian jersey because I know eventually he's gonna, if he signs there, he's going to change his number. But you get the first jersey.
Like 97 right now. What is it right now?
It's like 32 or something like that. I think
probably not it. I'd get Flores. Rather than Gressel. I think Gressel's signing his long-term contract too. But I think we go for the big flashy signing. I usually get not the big flashy signing because it's the way I roll. But what about you?
See, I'm a person. I get jersey numbers on. It's a very it's how they're doing that year. 2018, I was watching Luciano Acosta tear it up. I also had just gotten a new job, so I went out and dropped the money on a Luciano Acosta jersey because I thought this guy's going to be a legend at this club, and you see how that turned out. So I feel like I just have a bad habit. I bought I got a Kuznetsov Capitals jersey for Christmas. Who he lit up the 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs, and then he's been okay, but he hasn't been that level. And so I feel like I'm almost a curse, and maybe it's just the fact of when I buy the kit, I might just try to break the curse by just going out on a limb. I almost want to take the safe bet and say Paul Arriola, that's a pretty safe bet, and maybe somebody I would want in there. Tough choice. Yeah, I guess I got to go with Edison Flores. $5 million player, DC signed. They brought him in. He's going to be exciting to watch. I'll probably make my decision at that first game. I'm going to watch that game, see how well DC plays. Unless Edison Flores is injured, then my whole plan goes to crap. But,
yeah, too. I got to say, I did not like the jersey from the renderings. And then when I saw it actually styled live, I'd like it. I'd get one.
I like it. The numbers, MLS nailed.
Yes, they're great.
The font and numbers. That's why I want one. And it's got the 25 logo. Also, by the way, there's been back and forth as to whether this is going to happen, but I have. So for those who don't know, DC United originally in 1996 wore red shorts. I think everybody has seen the pictures, the old pictures. There was talk about whether the team would do red shorts, and I think this is another case where they let this out to Pablo, and then they said, "Oh, we're not sure we're going to do it." And then everybody's like, "What are you doing? You got to do the red shorts." And then they're like, all right, we'll do the red shorts. Apparently they've been there's pictures that have come out with Fred Brilliant on Instagram, black kit, red shorts. FIFA apparently is doing a launch of the kits, I think tomorrow or something like that, where you can download the kits. I might actually break open FIFA, go in, and just see what the kits are going to be. Black kit, red shorts. Pablo said, maybe they'll do it for some games, maybe not all games. Do it for all the games. Every single game, I want to see black kit and red shorts. Yeah, with the black socks and the stripes. Those the whole kit looks just really nice with that all put together. I think the kit's fine. I think most of the MLS kits are fine. I think they're not. I think some of them tried some new things, some different things. There are some, I don't know why, but I really like San Jose's white kit. I don't know why I like it. I think it looks different. It looks a little different. At least they're trying something a little bit new. I don't know. It looked like a very, very nice kit. It almost looked like they were trying to sort of pay homage to the San Jose Clash. So, still waiting for the Mitchell and Ness classic MLS gear. When is that coming? Have we gotten any confirmation on that?
I have not. I just sold my Switch yesterday for a little bit of jersey money. So I'm ready. When that Mitchell and Ness newsletter hits, I'm ready to. I've been told that the Screaming Eagles offer a day pass with booze for $15. So if if that strikes your fancy, if you're thinking, wow, that's a bargain. And I'm also told that the ultras are $20 for the year, and you get a tetanus shot, or you get tetanus. Maybe you don't get a tetanus shot, you just get tetanus. By the way, this is an open call. We're doing the Screaming Eagles tailgate. We are open and flexible to go to any of these tailgates and do live podcasts. So keep that in mind. Should you be a listener for any of the other supporter groups and you want to have some some dudes doing a podcast from your tailgate, we'll do that. All right, back to the mailbag. At Rich_Lucky Duck says, do we really have the defensive mids to warrant playing two, especially if we need Knaus at fullback? I'm sure I'm in the minority regarding Moreno, but I think he is passive and not a ball winner or a passer. Do we have the defensive mids to warrant playing two? I think we'll need to do that. I think we have a lot of not freelancing attacking players, but we have a front four that's going to get involved a lot. I think based on again not having seen these games, but based on how we anticipate they're going to play, I think you are in the minority regarding Moreno. I think he's an excellent player. He had a bit of a lull last year, which maybe is coloring a little bit of your perception of him. But we've talked about it already. When you pull Knaus to a full-time right back, you are making yourself very thin, dangerously so there. If you have the three of them there, that's still a real strength for the team to have those three options. So I think we're probably going to continue to play with two in that spot. And hopefully Knaus is able to just compete in that spot versus trying to find a spot at right back all the time. Agree, disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's going. Ben Olsen has always played a two defensive mid system. So I don't see him going away from that. Again, it's hard. I was hoping from this game we from these streams maybe we'd get an idea as to what the DC Ben Olsen is doing, but we really haven't, and he hasn't really had a full squad to really see that. So I'll be very curious to see in these games. January camp's over, everything's back. Are we going to see? You remember last year there was a clear shift in how DC. I think they lined up pretty much the same, but there was very much a clear shift in how they were playing. They were trying to play more possessive style. Will we see that again this year? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Next question from podcast mailbag favorite Brendan Cartwright. I'm feeling less confident in the roster construction by the day. Fisher is a total question mark. There's no true cam, and our front office is now whiffing on DP attackers and TAM defenders. Can Olsen mold what we have into a competitor? I'm nervous. He has definitely been huffing the paint fumes, the negative paint fumes on this one. I think I remember him being very excited when we signed Flores. Let's wait and see what this new CBA free agency breaking of the dam does to this team. I think Ted's wise to point that out before we get too nervous. I think that if we go into the season in 2 weeks with no other signings and don't have any plans to fix that, sure, be nervous. I'm not too concerned about whiffing on the TAM French defender from the last place Ligue 1 team. That doesn't really make my day bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of excitement with Flores, and then, oh my gosh, we might be getting Lozano. The team is, when you're, to me, it's kind of like, I don't know, working a sales job or something like that. You want to see them at least hit a couple of nice prospects, and I think they've done that with Gressel and with Flores. But if you miss one or two, hey, sometimes things don't work out. That happens all the time. But, there is a sense of, well, you got to close and you got to figure out something, because if that guy doesn't work, you got to have a plan B. Then maybe a plan C, D, E, F in a lot of cases. And hopefully you don't get too far down that rung before you start getting desperate. So, I hope this, whatever this TAM, French center back that I'm assuming Chad Aston was enamored with at some point, I'm guessing.
He was scouting there.
He was scouting there, so that's where the hell that's coming from. But
watching this team conceding like 1 million goals, PSG is like, we need this guy right here. This is the guy we need. Brendan Cartwright also says, we have not beaten Philly or the Red Bulls in an MLS match at Audi Field. Does that change this year? Yes.
Red Bulls probably.
Yes.
Red Bulls probably.
No. Red Bulls, yes.
Philly, maybe. I'm still not convinced. Everybody's talking to Philly. They had a good season last year, but and they broke their transfer record by spending $1 million on a player. That's breaking their transfer record.
Broke boys in Philly.
If you think we are cheap and we are not an ownership that spends money, you got to go back. By the way, we should talk about the opening night. We didn't go to it, but we've seen some pictures of what the stadium's going to look like.
Yeah, we will.
Hopefully there's a good looking field.
Yeah. At DC Ulysses says, what would you prefer, defensive depth or a backup striker? I think that's an interesting way to phrase it. We can only sign one. The roster is as it is right now. Would you rather have defensive depth or a backup striker? Ted, I will let you go first.
Defensive depth.
I'm gonna say, just for the sake of being different, I'm gonna say backup striker. I think there are players you can press into service and the defensive side and be okay. But I think that if Kamara goes down, I'm shitting a brick.
I mean, I'm very nervous too. I just think there's a lot of attacking talent that this team has built that I think even if maybe they aren't getting the production up front, they'll be able to survive. If we're leaking, 3, 4, 5 goals a game because we got defenders hurt, it's looking like how it was in the middle of last season when this team looked like they could not keep the ball to the back of the net. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Next question. How sad are you about going to Anhar going to LAFC? We've discussed that. At Athletic Areola. Interesting. With our large depth in midfield, who exactly would you guys start at midfield? Oh no. And who would you go out with right back? Oh no. I'll start. So I was saying earlier that I don't want Knaus at right back. I refuse to have Areola at right back. That is non-negotiable. I will throw things at the field if that happens. I would run, depending on how the preseason games that we can't see go, and if Fisher stays healthy. I give that a go. I'd give that a go and keep your ability to put Gressel further forward as an option and leave Knaus in the middle of the field with splitting time with Moreno and Felipe. Felipe also apparently is the captain based on pictures. There's dialogue there that's potentially the case, which is hilarious.
Yeah, think about that. Like imagine like in beginning of like 2018 or 2019, you're told Felipe is going to be the captain of this team in a couple years. But he played really well, and he is without a doubt a good ambassador for the club. It seemed like he knew when he came in, he was like, people aren't going to like me, so I'm going to do my best. I'm going on a charm offensive.
It worked. It worked on me. I got sold.
Yeah, he's going to have a moment this year. I think we're going to get some more games. There's going to be one moment when we're all going to kind of like either just like I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see anything wrong with that. And then every fan in the world is going to be yelling about it.
He's going to decapitate somebody with his cleat and will be like, listen, he shouldn't have put his head there. That was his fault. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm studiously avoiding answering the question about who I would start in midfield because I have no clue because we haven't seen these GD players.
Yeah.
I refuse to do it. Sorry.
We have no insight. We've talked about what the team could do. I want to see. I would love it if Julian Gressel and Areola would work just out on the right, them switching between defensive right back and right wing. I think that would be, if they could get that to work, that could be like something that would absolutely just own the rest of the league, especially on that right side.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
At Give Me My Footy, Kyle Pollock says, if FC Dallas made a special ticket bundle like the Mexican Superstar package, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, I'll talk about that for a second, and included DC, what would it be called and who would the other two teams be? That is an excellent question that required much more preparation on my part to give you a creative answer to.
You're an expecting father, so I mean, you can just say that. Sorry, I had to do this thing.
I had to prepare to have a kid in 2 months. I couldn't think about it. My mental energy was otherwise. If you don't know what he's talking about, FC Dallas posted a tweet about selling tickets basically on come see all of the Mexican national superstars that are playing for other teams that come and visit. And people got really mad at them. I think they're dumb to get mad at them. FC Dallas needs to sell tickets. And That's if they were saying like you have to turn casuals into fans of yours. So yeah, get them in the door and then win, and that's great.
So the marketing department is not stupid for offering this deal.
Nope.
You can be mad at the club for not having an attractive enough team that they have to resort to this in order to get people to show up to the game. There's two sides you can come at this. I'm not mad at them for doing that. I'm not getting mad at someone in marketing being like, let's sell three tickets, $45.
Our job is to sell tickets. Let's try to sell tickets.
Let's hope it's not a David Beckham situation I think they had where they sold a bunch of tickets to see David Beckham come play, and then David Beckham did not play. So let's hope like all three of those players don't suddenly pick up mysterious injuries or something like that.
Right. I remember that. There was a lot of that when Beckham was coming around. As far as like, that was a. I think he might have not played in Dallas when they did that. I think I somewhere there's a neuron in my brain from 2007 bouncing around remembering that information. Kyle, I don't have an answer for you on that. It's too good of a question. I'll noodle on it and I'll try to be creative, but it's not happening right now.
The only thing I could see would be DC and Seattle because they have Rudy Diaz and we have it's like a Peruvian pack or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the only two. It's the only two I can come up with.
I like it. No, it's better than I got.
Yeah.
Arthur Lampros says, with the increase of high-value midfield options this year, do you see Junior Moreno getting considerable playing time? There is a potential. We've sort of talked about the fact that we don't imagine Ben goes away from two defensive midfielders because he likes to build from a stout defensive base, and that's the way he's felt comfortable historically. If you are trying to figure out a way to get all these attacking options on the field at once, that's a place you can look at. And changing that up and only having one player there. And then I don't know if we only have one, I don't know who that first choice is. I think it'll be Felipe, which is kind of crazy now. again,
kind of crazy to think about.
Right. 2020. Oh, really? That's what's going on. We'll see. I think we talked about at the beginning of the show is that there's going to be so many more lineup changes this year, so many new looks than there have been before, just based on the player pool and the talent that we have at our disposal.
Agreed. I mean, there's going to be so much.
Taylor says, that's an answer to another question. Looks like there are way more Saturday home matches in the schedule this year versus last year when we had a lot of Wednesday and Sunday night 8 p.m. matches. I have noticed that. Will this boost attendance, especially among fans with kids, fans traveling from suburbs, and fans who value sleep? I think it might. I think that I know that I have heard from a lot of parents who had said that there were 30 to 40 to 50% of home games that were just out. Like they just were not possible. They had season tickets, doesn't matter, selling them, can't use them. And I'm about to be one of those people. So like I was looking at Saturday afternoon games. I'm like, that's perfect. I mean, I don't yet know sleep schedule bananas and all that stuff. I don't know anything about anything yet. But I know that Sunday at 8:00 isn't going to work. And I know that Wednesday at 7 p.m. is not going to work based on where I live. So I think that it can only benefit it. I think it can only help sort of the casual. Sunday at 8:00 is not really good for anybody, I don't think, unless you live in DC or don't go to work early on Monday. It's not good. So I'm happy about that. It's a good change.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be better for me as far as like traveling. Even though I still show up on a Sunday and I work from home on Monday, so and I don't have kids, so it doesn't really affect me. I can pretty much figure out a way.
And don't care. Hashtag don't care.
I will go to a game if that's what it takes. So, but yeah, I mean, I think from a perspective, I'm really liking actually the game on Saturday is a 1:00 game, though for opening game, it's 1:00. I mean, I can get up early, drive to DC, and get back to Richmond. And still have plenty of time to maybe do some other things too, depending on
That's right. You're going to get there early because we were going to be live at the Screaming Eagles tailgate at 10 a.m. till 12:30.
Exactly.
Check us out. All right, next. Dustin Supreme says, I keep reading things that are not actually questions, but are in fact replies to other questions. Jimmy R. DCU Gooner says, am I wrong to have concerns about bringing in a center back over the age of 30 when we already have one in Briant? Hard to say since, again, Ted nor I are experts in Bakaye Dibiase from Amiens. So he may be a very young 30. He may be spry at 30. I think it's fine.
I just don't, 33, 34, 30. Okay. Yeah, that's reaching there. 30 is not.
34. you're a dusty old man who should disappear into the. I don't know why I keep fixing on 34. I don't know.
For the position he's playing too, I don't think think he's that old.
Remember Bobby Boswell before he fell off a cliff? He was like 30 something. He was okay until he wasn't.
Yeah, he was fine. I mean, those players, potentially, if he's playing in the top level, I know they're bottom of the table, but he's still playing at a high level in the French League One, and he's still starting for that team. So, I'd have to go back and look. Maybe they're giving up 7-8 goals. Who knows? But I think he would do fine in MLS. You have to be just an above average defender in MLS to be fine, really, because there's so much attacking talent.
Because of how little money gets spent.
Oh yeah, it's top level league. There's gonna be so many 5-4 games. You seen the amount of attacking talent that's coming into this league, by the way. Like I throw in a fantasy league, I'm thinking like, wow, there's like 20 players I would be willing. I think are going to score a bunch of goals. There's going to be 5-4, 6-5 type games. I predict at least 2 or 3 of those this year.
Speaking of that, I know you saw this tweet. Pablo tweeted the DC Defenders game got more viewers than any MLS game ever in history, which I loved. I love that stat.
I mean, America loves American football.
They do. They love it. Even like fake bad versions of it. They can't get enough. It's amazing.
Yeah. It was fun. Hey, I watched the XFL. I wanted to see my stadium being used by somebody else as like a tenant. And I got to tell you, the best atmosphere, I think, was the DC Defender. I think I watched one in New York at MetLife Stadium. I think I watched the Dallas game, which was in another obscenely large stadium for the crowd size. It was like looking at like an old MLS game. And this game felt, the game they had at Audi Field, they were smart, I think, in what stadium they picked because those atmospheres are going to be better. Smaller stadiums, smaller crowd sizes. But, you're drawing 17, 20. It looks a lot better in a 20,000 seat stadium than a 80,000 seat stadium.
Ted, I might go. I watched the whole game. I was like, this looks fun to me. You couldn't get me to FedEx with like $100 bill. You couldn't do it.
Oh no.
But I would do this.
People complain about how hard it is to get to Audi Field. I'm like, try to go to FedEx.
Yeah. No, we're wrapping up here on mailbag. Sam, this is not really a question, but it's a joke. And I like it. Samson says, a lot of groin injuries this preseason. Should training staff be promoting celibacy? Rim shot, badoom, which I like. Anyway, that's all. Thank you guys for your whole bunch of questions. I know that there were a couple other things we wanted to get to overall. We talked about the CBA. We talked about the uniforms. We talked about the signings. You wanted to talk about, what was it? There was one other thing.
The TV deal, my friend.
TV deal.
How we're going to watch these games. It was looking like NBC Sports Washington. I think on the last show, we talked about how it was probably going to be NBC Sports Washington. Apparently now it's going to be Sinclair. Sinclair is back, my friends. It's almost like, though, it's like rose-colored glasses because, like, oh, man, at least it's not. And there's a lot of benefits for me when it was on Sinclair last time. If it's the same, there was an over-the-air channel. I was able to watch it on, I think, one of the over-the-air channels on the CW, which is kind of nice. And I was not blacked out on ESPN Plus / MLS Live. So I could watch all the games on MLS Live without any blackouts in my area. No more hopping to a bar and finding out that it's connecting to a tower that's outside the radius, but my phone is connected anyway. So none of that nonsense. So in a way, it's almost like, and they have to get this through 2 more years. Just 2 more years of this, and then MLS is bringing it all under one house. It's happening, folks. Trust me. This is the local MLS TV rights is on its last leg. So yeah. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that okay, sure, it's fine as long as they're willing to broadcast the games. Because I think a lot of people wanted NBC Sports Washington, but they maybe don't remember that there were a lot of times when it wasn't on. CSN did not even broadcast the game. And I think what NBC was like, we'll take all the games. Oh, but we're going to put these 7 on Monumental Sports, which doesn't do anybody any good. I would rather
have a subscription. It will be fine for me. I'm game. Do it. No, I have a subscription. I have access to it. So I watch the Spirit games on there occasionally. So let's do it.
Yeah.
I prefer that. I've cut cable. I can't get News Channel 8. There's no way for me to do it. I will be going to, if there's a r/MLS streams, that's where I'll be because I don't know how I'll get to watch it. There's no app.
Yeah.
ABC doesn't do in-market live streaming,
and that's going to be the big question is, are they going to offer some sort of? I think they said they were looking also at doing a streaming package. If they go to if they go to News Channel 8 and they say, okay, can you guys offer any type of streaming for people who live in the area? And if their answer is no, then I think they should also look at packaging their digital rights somewhere. They got to come up. I think they do have to come up with something, because funny enough, now there's all these cord cutters now that are like, wait a minute, I don't get News Channel 8. So yeah,
it better be in 1080p. It better be HD, or else that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they are inching closer where they can say Sinclair is going to offer. Doesn't ABC have like over the air? The ABC station doesn't have like 0.123 type channels?
I don't know.
Does it not have that? Because that's what we get with CBS. The Richmond Kickers have a deal with CBS, the local CBS affiliate here, and you can watch the games on the like 6.3 channel. Like it's like an auxiliary channel that they use. The quality's awful. I mean, it's not the greatest, but I'm just thinking like, they're putting these channels on ABC. They're putting the games there, and then they're going to use News Channel 8. So my question is, why not? Don't they have like some auxiliary feed that they can use so people can get it over the air? So maybe there'll be more games on ABC too. That would be interesting, if that happens. So we'll find out.
Well, it's a lot. This is basically the podcast that came a week or 2 weeks too soon for everything. Like we're almost on a TV deal. We're clearly not done building this roster out. And we still haven't seen this team play any games. So you get what you get, and you don't get upset.
And our whole live stream decided just to not work today.
Really,
so,
really tonight was a land of contrasts. So let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Do we want to talk anything Spirit though before we leave?
Let's wait till next week when we got a full boat here.
The U.S. women also ran through their competition in CONCACAF.
As you would assume and hope, and they did it.
Well, it's just interesting. It was 25-20. They outscored opponents 25-0, which is to be expected. But even the opponents that everybody was like, maybe they'll give them a challenge, like Mexico and Canada, they still just completely ran over. It wasn't even close. So they're playing well. They're playing well right now.
Their ability to pressure in the midfield and counter is like. It's like Bach. It's like Beethoven. Like it's artistry on a level that is ridiculous. And I think that's why they resonate with so many people. You can, if you're just a soccer fan in general, and maybe not say a women's soccer fan or whatever, you can just watch that and be like, no, this is amazing. This is perfect. This is something that you don't see anywhere else in as consistent a way as you see with them.
And what's really incredible, I think, about the U.S. women now is just it's like they're reloading. Alex Morgan's out. Before they had issues, it was like they had this, these great teams, 91, 95, 99, and then it was very much a fade. They sort of faded out, and then they sort of rebuilt. Megan Rapinoe, Abby Wambach came into her, started to come up into the team. Now it's like, it's
Lynn Williams.
Lynn Williams. Christian Press is finally they have so much depth on that team. They are like 15, 16, 17 players deep. There are players that probably didn't even play in this tournament that would be starting for other national teams right now.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. That's definitely true.
And not just like, your Trinidad and Tobago's, your Jamaicas, your Costa Ricas. I'm talking like your France, England, Germany. There are players that are on the bench for the U.S. team that would be starting for those big clubs that showed really well in the World Cup. So, I mean, they're crazy deep, and I think they're the obvious favorite to go and win the Olympics.
Also, Spirit fans, I got to give it to them. Craig Hoffman and some other guy they've already been doing a podcast in the off season. They are now going to do video content. They're going to do post game wrap up stuff. They're going to air coach like pregame talks. They've upped the game substantially as far as what they're actually going to cover around the Spirit. So that's going to be great for fans who have not been served by that at all, like whatsoever. Like that's really been a shortcoming for them. And it appears that ownership has put some money in that department, is actually going to produce some content. So excited for that.
Yeah.
Excited for preseason to start. Excited for a full year of Rose Lavelle. Hopefully she can, or not a full year, unfortunately, but a good chunk of it. Hopefully she stays healthy.
Hopefully most of the year. Let's just be clear. Hopefully most of the year.
until the final, she looked very good. She had a pretty rough final, I thought, against Canada. But what are you gonna do? It didn't really matter.
Yeah,
she's off by the 60th minute. I think that's probably all we should wrap it up at.
Yep, that sounds good. All right.
I'll do the ads for giving us money. So clearly, we're holding you hostage with the video content. So if you want to see video again and not just see a black screen, hear a voice, we recommend that you check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/RFKrefugees. There's a tier that says, let us see the video. It's $1. So if you want to support us and think that this is worthwhile, please do so. Again, I'm going to, for a third time, hit up, make sure if you want to come see us live and also probably drink a beer if you have $15 and aren't a member of Screaming Eagles already, come to the Screaming Eagles tailgate at the home opener. I believe it's from 10 to 12:30, and then we'll all go to the game and go watch DC whoop up on some Colorado Rapids.
Yep. Come join us. Join the show. We'll make sure we have the extra mic ready and everything. All right. I think that's you've been listening to RFK Refugees, and we'll catch you all next week. Vamos.
Vamos.